I'm going to go ahead and bring in a new animation for our strawberry. So I'll bring it forward. I'm just going to drop another file node. Could use the same one, but we'll just to compare the two. And in my hip, my geo, I've got this strawberry animation. You'll have this from the beginning, so you'll probably start with this animation from the first lesson. But I'm going to switch it over. So remember that, you know, this is something that can happen in production. You might, or even on a personal project, if you're not happy with the animation or the model, things can change as you're going. And the great thing about working procedurally is that it's as easy as connecting it up like this. Now, obviously, we're not doing anything complex here in creating the collision, but that can be the case. For example, with our emitter, maybe. Whoops. Press escape. I'll go back to the first frame. It's going to be trying to calculate. So we could drop a different line in here, and everything would filter through this. All of this is procedural, as far as I can remember. Maybe just the transform might have to change a bit, and you know we'd get a new result. Okay, so just so we can see, if I put the template on the old one, and let's watch them together. You can see it's moved over to the right a bit, and a bit different, a bit smoother, I would say. I'll leave this here. Maybe we can name it old anim. We'll keep it just in case. And new anim. Okay, and let's take a look. I'm going to refine this a little. I think I've got yeah, it looks like a bit of a viewport error there. Let's see if we don't need the animation editor, so I'm just going to change this into a scene view. Let's see what happens. Go back to the first frame. Cam 1. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to turn my background to dark. Get rid of that, and delete this other scene view. Okay, weird little glitches like that can happen sometimes. Normally, just opening a new scene view tab. Failing that, you probably just have to save, close, and reopen. Restart Houdini. So, right back here. Let's take a look at our strawberry. I think we can afford to drop down the voxel size a bit, tighten that up. Also, I'm just going to delete the seeds and the hairs, because they're such fine seeds and the hairs, because it's such fine detail, you know, it's not necessary. I'm going to subdivide this once, because you can still see it's a bit jagged there. Let's get something smoother. There we go. So it still plays through fairly quick. We've got a much nicer shape there. And I want to subdivide this because I want to add some noise to the surface. So I'm going to actually add a mountain node here. So obviously we'll render from this point, or we could just import it again in another network. But here, so I want to add, after the delete, a mountain, something very subtle, just to give us, obviously not to this effect, something where you won't notice it, that there's different geometry in the render compared to the collision geometry, but it will just give us some more interesting interesting reaction when they collide with the fluid, right? So obviously we want to bring this down quite a lot, drop the height down to 0.1, so it's almost invisible there, and the element size to 5 there. Okay, so we get it's a bit more of a jagged surface. can see it's not too much, but it should give us a more of an interesting splash. Okay, so we're going to be feeding that through to our collider. Escape, I keep doing that. What we should do to stop that, turn off the visualization on the dot network, and the emitter, we don't need to look at that. We'll leave the strawberry on. So back to the first frame. I'm going to jump inside here. Maybe we can particle separation, leave it at 3 for now, and let's take a look at what that gives us. If you know, we've lost our sidebar here, just click on the arrow and that'll open it up. I'm going to go into full screen and play blast. Flipbook, sorry, not play blast. So Flipbook is done. Let's take a look. Obviously it looks way more wild now. You can see the mountain kind of ripple with the animation, but that doesn't matter, to be honest. So it really, where the slow-mo starts, if I remember. Yeah, there. 38, right? So let's just watch that. So we'll do some things to control this a bit, hold the water together, we'll add some viscosity, and some surface tension, which will control this a bit more. But we got just the front, and it seems like the fluid's kind of wrapping around the strawberry, so that should give us a nice render. You know, when we've got the fluid behind and in front, and get some cool splashes above and below as well. So we're on the right track.